Gym battles, while a critical stage in your Pokemon journey, have been relatively simple affairs up until now. A one-on-one battle with a strong trainer in a small themed environment. All that changed with Pokemon Sword and Shield. Gym battles take place in sprawling stadiums with crowds of roaring fans. The atmosphere is intense and the music entirely reflects that. For the first time, the music changes depending on what's happening in battle. And I love this because it's not even really necessary. The only conceivable reason it's like this is to build the atmosphere. Taking a listen, the music launches straight into a tense mash of synth and drums, which I think sets the tone for the coming fight. It reminds me a bit of X and Y's gym theme. Yeah, definitely shares that synth vibe. But this theme takes the synth and plays with it, which sounds really, really cool. The star of the show is the way it transitions when something happens in the battle itself. I especially like how the entire song tones down when you're about to lose. Far from feeling less intense, it feels like a heartbeat, which is ironic since yours might be racing. The chord progression that plays when you Dynamax just sounds really good, and the best part is when the gym leader sends out their ace. The music suddenly builds up into hype, then the crowds start chanting. The rest of the instruments take a backseat as you soak in the energy of the crowds. This was a really unique and fresh design choice, and one that gave your virtual gym challenge real meaning. I found myself savouring the moment when I got to battle in another gym, and prove myself in front of the crowds. And a large part of that was due to the atmosphere provided by the music. Picture this. You walk into a clothes store. You've saved up a little and you want to buy a casual tee, Pikachu Payback. But as soon as you enter, this song slaps you upside the face and suddenly you're vibing so hard that you end up buying the pattern gloves Gullet Glam, which you'll never even wear, but you don't care because this song bops. I've never heard a Pokemon theme with such high energy before. This music feels like it's buzzing. Plus, the whole thing just sounds so cool. Pokemon have attached a very strong theme to fashion, which you can barely find in other games. It makes you feel classy when you come to revamp your image, like some kind of fashion star. It reminds me a lot of the Pokemon X and Y boutique theme. There's clearly a heavy emphasis on synth and lots of instruments. And I want to touch on that for a moment. There are so many cool hidden sounds in this piece that you couldn't possibly identify them all. Their purpose is to create an instrument-heavy synth mash, and it certainly performs to that effect. After a decent chunk of theme comes my favourite part, and the reason it's on the list. The music comes to a climax, and then drops away. The instruments are stripped back and you're left with the bare bones of the theme. There's some really cool drums filling the space, a non-instrument and little else. This bit is so good because it releases so much pent-up tension built up throughout the song. All these heavy instruments playing at once are a sensory overload, so without a drop in energy this theme would feel warm. And honestly, this part just makes the song so much cooler, don't you think? Hop, much as his name suggests, is energetic, flighty, and ambitious. Constantly living under the enormous shadow of his brother, he seeks to make a name for himself and become the very best. His battle theme reflects his childish enthusiasm and sounds really cool while doing it. So let's dive in. Immediately we're granted with grand strains that seemingly announce Hop's entrance. It's full of energy and fits perfectly to Hop's personality. The electric guitar and synthesized bass are the main instruments of the song, and the guitar adds a really neat rock accent. It helps keep the song from feeling too loud, which is essential as this is a high energy song. Frequently, Hop's theme is punctuated with synth bass, a recurring motif in the song. Later on in the song, we're treated to a section where the guitar takes a backseat and the drums beat at constant intervals. Instead, the bass plays a clear, sharp melody that helps break up the song. And what I love most about this bit is the expert syncopation. This and the backup bass make the song far more interesting to hear. Quiet cymbals help us transition to a slower, more powerful piece of guitar. Finally, a musical phrase that feels signature to Hop helps us to bridge the transition and complete the loop. Throughout the Pokemon series, Grass Town themes are usually defined by a farm aesthetic, like Paniola Ranch for example. What I love about Turffield Town, however, is that it takes these stereotypes and throws them out the window. The guitar, drums, and organ give the whole theme a really chill vibe, and I appreciate how they adapted a British surf rock theme for this town. Immediately the piece starts with a really strong piece of guitar, and let's just take a moment to appreciate the timbre for a second. It sounds really cool, right? Then the guitar plays some single long notes and lets you take in the drums and the organ playing in the background. The song is really strong in the way that it doesn't try to do too much too fast. After a nice progression where the synth repeats the guitar, you get this really homely, comforting piece that feels reminiscent of the coziness of Generation 3. It feels really nostalgic and helps to add to the chilled vibes. Finally, a quiet guitar progression gently loops us back to the beginning of the song. It's a little hard to collect my thoughts about this piece. Very little seems to jump out at me when I listen to it, but I still find it a really enjoyable experience nonetheless. And it seems unfair just to write it off as just a good battle theme too. I feel like there's a subtle energy about this piece that makes it really pleasing to listen to. The rock guitar is a great choice for this piece because it reflects Marnie's semi-punk nature. It also stays really strong throughout, letting its power pleasantly rub against you. Together with the synth, it creates a really unique theme that feels inherently like Marnie. The chanting in the background reminds you that Marnie has Team Yell on her side, a wild fanbase that spoons a helping of atmosphere and makes the battle feel weighty, as though you can't lose in front of the crowd. It's a small but appreciated touch, but there's one part of this song that really stands up for me, and it's hard to put into words why I love this bit so much. Take a listen. I don't really know why this specific chord progression sends shivers down my spine when I hear it. I did some digging and I found that it uses the chords D minor, C, G, and A sharp. This already sounds nice, but the guitars just really bring it together. Man, do I love this bit. This piece is so cool that I don't even know where to begin. It feels sad, hopeful, nostalgic, unknown, fantastical, and emotional all at once. It adopts a distinct 70s theme with its choice of instrument, played mostly in minor, that really accentuates the attitude and almost gloominess of the surroundings. Conversely, it's punctuated by hopeful string strains, creating a conflicting environment when you feel sad and lost, but at the same time, empowered. It's such an emotional clash, but before you can become too comfortable, it hits you with the howling segment. The introduction is just really cool, I reckon. There's a tiny segment of drums that sends shivers down my spine, and I appreciate how there's just 3 repeated notes while the background winds down. Then the howling hits, and instantly the entire vibe changes and suddenly you're lost and alone while unseen and ancient forces seem to pervade the mist. The howling is representative of the legendary wolves, which is a nice touch. It's also played slightly out of time while a Latin chorus plays in the background. It's disorienting and works perfectly with the mist of the slumbering weald as you traverse into the dense forest. I've saved the best for last. Motostoke City. I frequented this place often just so I could listen to it, because this song be straight vibing. As with most themes, what's important is the atmosphere it provides. And the reason why this theme sounds so good is because it's such an unlikely blend that aims to personify the city, nay, the entire game. Which I guess makes this theme a leitmotif, because when I hear it, it reminds me of Pokemon Sword and Shield. Even a city from a later game borrows this theme. Motostoke is a steampunk city, and the theme definitely has this quality. The song chugs along busily, punctuated with bells, piano, and various other sounds to add this sense of energy, as if the city's in motion, as if it was one big machine. It sounds great, and the song starts building in tension, but before it climaxes, a powerful saxophone juts in, and instantly the tension cools off. This isn't some big machine. This is alive. The saxophone sounds really organic, and it strikes immense juxtaposition to the man-made clamour of bells and synth. It's a fantastic, outrageous blend that shouldn't work, but it does. Expert craftsmanship went into making them work together. Frequently the song builds up, only to be swept back in a manner that doesn't feel forced. A recurring phrase assists in this too. From the ringing bells to the smooth jazz, all to the tiny unnoticed sounds that populate this piece, Motostoke feels like it's a place that's alive and self-aware too. All the musical phrases in the theme work so well. The saxophone cuts in and changes up the song, the chord progression is repeated by the synth, a musical motif of bells, and some more saxophone that positively sings in celebration. That's what it feels like to me. A wise friend of mine once said that Pokemon music is adept at letting you know where you are, and he could not be more right. When I come across music that I think sounds cool, I always like to listen to it again and decode why I enjoy it. What makes it sound good? What atmosphere is it aiming for? Things like that. It helps me to develop an appreciation of music, and appreciation is the first step to happiness, after all. So, what did you think of my selection? Anything I missed? This entire video was just a discussion/appreciation sesh, so feel free to comment any discussion/appreciation of your own. Also, yeah, I know I didn't include Toby Fox's theme, so sorry Undertale fans. That's the end of this Pokemon ASMR session. Tune in next time when we'll be killing them. Just killing all of them. I'm hot and I'm sweaty and I don't know how to breathe for some reason. Like I'm pretty sure I know how to talk. Like I'm pretty sure I don't have this problem when I just talk, but here we are. Me not remembering to breathe.